How do you go about giving a reading as a medium? Is there a formula or is there a structure that works best? Well, by the end of this video, you're going to know my exact step-by-step process for how I give a reading as a medium. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe, hit that button, and hit the bell to be notified every time I post a new video about all things mediumship. Plus, you get to see me in action when you watch my readings, and I'm always coming out with new videos about communicating with spirit. I gave 100 free readings when I was first coming into my skills, and after sitting with client after client, I have found my process that works for me when I'm giving a mediumistic reading. Just don't forget that knowing the structure for how I run my readings may not be the same way that you want to run yours, and it definitely does not substitute for the work that you've got to put in to be able to hone your skills as a medium in the first place. But when you're just getting started, it's great to be able to know a little bit about how to put your best foot forward. Step one, you want to warmly welcome your sitter. Now, I don't take a lot of time to do this. In fact, as soon as I get on video, since most of my readings are virtual, I let people know that while I'm super friendly, I jump straight in because I want to limit the amount of information that anyone might accidentally give me before a reading. But I like to tell them I'm honored that they're here, honored to read for them, and have them just feel welcome. Number two, allow your sitter to feel comfortable. Now, there's two things that really put my sitters at ease. Number one, I start by just very briefly explaining to them my interpretation of how mediumship actually works. This allows them to relax a little bit and have a little bit more insight into how spirit is communicating with me while I'm channeling their loved ones. I touch as well on mediumship ethics and just letting them know that I don't take the responsibility of mediumship lightly. I know what a big deal it is to represent their loved ones in spirit who have passed and the weight that my words may carry. If you want to check out more about how I explain how mediumship works, you can check out my video all about that. And if you want to check out more about mediumship ethics, I also have a YouTube video that you can watch on that as well. After I explain to them how mediumship works, I explain to them a little bit more about how I specifically work because every medium is different. So I let them know how I'm receiving spiritual impressions most of the time. I share with them that I don't try to control who comes through during a reading because I think spirit has the best perspective on this. I let them know to be as relaxed as possible and as open and unattached to who comes through, the message that they have to send. And super importantly, I let them know that during the reading, I will look to them to make sure that they can understand the evidence I'm bringing through, and I ask them to respond only with yes, no, or maybe. At the end of that explanation, which I do pretty briefly, my sitters usually are a lot more relaxed. They feel informed and a little more empowered about the process. Number three, I love doing an opening prayer before I start the reading. Now, you may have different words that you want to use. Maybe you don't like the word prayer. Maybe you say a couple words beforehand, but you don't like to say them out loud. For me personally, I like to call it a prayer because I reach out to masters, grandmasters, angels, archangels, spirit guides, and all of our loved ones in spirit. And I call them all in to help support the reading and to ask for positive messages, messages of love only. Now, some people do this because they want to protect against dark energies. Mine, I just think that the power of intention is so strong that I go into it knowing that what's going to come through are messages of love. That feels really great to me. I also notice that it puts my sitter at even more ease and creates this three-way harmony between spirit, myself, and the sitter. So that's one of the reasons that I think an opening prayer of some kind, even if you want to call it something else, can be really powerful. It's also kind of my physical cue that I give myself where I feel my body, my heart starts beating faster when I know I'm connecting to spirit. And it's kind of that cue for me to then get that strong connection. Now you're getting that link to spirit and you're ready to start bringing through that communication that's coming from spirit. The number one most important thing that I like to tell people is that you have to first identify the spirit. You have to get a strong link and do what we call anchor the link, because anything that you bring through evidentially will not be as powerful with its impact if your sitter doesn't know who it is that's speaking to you. Now, sometimes they may have family or friends on the other side who have a couple things in common. You may be bringing through evidence, but if you haven't identified who this person is, then it's not going to be as impactful. There's a couple ways that I do this. I like to use a family tree clairvoyantly. That's a great way to get information right away. Other times I will hear a family member, like mother or father, sister, brother, just hear those clairaudiently. And then clairsentiently, a lot of the time, I can just feel the energy of a mother, or I feel the energy of a sister. So it's nice to get that validation in several different ways, so I can double check when I go to say, okay, I'm understanding that this is who is on the other side for you, especially because I don't ask any of those questions before I start my readings. We've got 4 more steps for how to run a mediumistic reading, but so far, please drop any questions that you have below in the comments. I'd love to hear from you and fill you in on even more details about how I run my readings. Step 5, bring through evidence. Now that you've identified who the sitter is, it's such a powerful time to start bringing through pieces of information that make them recognizable to the sitter and validate the fact that yes, their loved one in spirit who has passed is present. It could be names, how old they were when they passed, what their hobbies were, any pets that they had, who's still living in your life and who's passed, who would be with them on the other side. It could be keepsakes. And one of my favorite things is when spirit comes through and talks about current events in the sitter's lives to show that they truly are present. They do see what's happening in that loved one's life. There's so many more pieces of evidence I could go through. That's a whole nother video. Step 6 is to share the message from spirit. So what I've found in reading after reading is that not just the spirit that comes through, but the message that comes through is always so timely, and it's so appropriate for what the sitter is going through in their lives. Spirit's goal is to bring the most healing possible when they come through in readings. And I see this time and time again. So the message may already have started to naturally come through as you bring pieces of evidence through, or even when you first identify the sitter, they may blurt out right away that they just want to send messages of love, or maybe it's profuse apologies. So it can happen that the message can start to come through even as you're providing evidence. But a lot of the time, spirit will start to follow your structure over time and know the things that you like to bring through. And the message, more often than not, will come after that evidence. And the reason for that too is that once you identify and then you give that powerful validation, that gives your sitter confidence that truly their loved one is here. And that's the time when they are most present and most open to hearing what spirit has to say. You'll start to feel, the more readings you do, that arc of the reading, where those most important messages have been communicated, when the validation has built upon itself and become so powerful, and you'll start to feel that ending. Now, my sessions usually run about 30 to 40 minutes, and when I feel that ending, I will let my sitter know, number 7, I'm going to leave you with their love. That's the way that I end my sessions, because no matter how the message plays out or who comes, it's always a message of healing. And so I always say, I'll leave you with their love. Now, step 8 for me may be different from other mediums, but I like to spend a little bit of time at the end to let my sitter share a couple words about their experience. This is powerful for both of us. It's powerful for my sitter to digest what came up, to just share how spot on the validation was, or even understand a piece of validation they didn't before. And it's powerful for me to hear the context of what I brought through. It makes it even more clear when my signs and symbols are working well, or when I need to add a new sign or a new symbol, or a more efficient way to go about bringing through evidence. You learn so much from getting that context from the sitter when the reading is over. So I always like to have at least 5 minutes to go ahead and say, please share whatever you'd like to share about what made sense for you and what you've discovered from this, and any other feedback that you'd like to give. I hope this was so helpful for you to learn how to structure your readings as a medium. And of course, it doesn't have to look exactly like mine, but if you might be interested in strengthening your clairs so you can speak to spirit, and not even as a medium, but just as someone who wants a stronger connection with spirit, you can go ahead and download my free guide below. It's called 3 Easy Exercises to Strengthen Your Clairs and Speak to Spirit. Be sure to check out this video next if you want to know more about how spirit communication works. And if you like this video, I'd be so happy if you give it a like, comment below, feel free to share it as well. And don't forget to hit the bell so you're notified the next time I share a new video about all things mediumship.